Okay. So to start, Anthony Wade, I see it there. Is pastor a good title or?
Yeah. I'm the lead pastor at Faith Building Church in Lebanon.
Okay. So you told me when we were on the phone that you actually made a post about this yesterday when you first saw about it. Can you talk to me about that?
Yes. My wife, we're lifelong residents of Lebanon. Actually, both my wife and I retired, graduated from Lebanon public schools. And my wife, when we first got married, she actually taught at the school in question, Donovan Elementary School, for 5 years. And we know several of the teachers there. We love the teachers there. We have friends. And one of them reached out to us and was very troubled about this and said, "This is going on. Will you guys please pray and make people aware?" So that was kind of what was the start of the post. It was what spurred everything on and kind of began us down this road.
Okay. And have you had the chance to, I guess, read about this Satanic Temple group, learn a little bit about them?
I have a little bit, yes. Before I made the post, I saw a little bit about what their stated goals are. And I have even seen some in the last couple of weeks. I wasn't totally unfamiliar with them when this originated here. In fact, I have seen the national leader or president. His name's escaping me right now, but I've even seen him interviewed. So I knew that this was going on around the country. And one of those things that a lot of people have said online, social media, it's like, you never think this is going to happen in our hometown, right? But it did, and it didn't catch me off guard, actually.
Okay. So, after, you're familiar with this group, I would say. So is it concerning that a group like this is coming to your hometown? I know you said it was kind of shocking, but is it concerning?
I don't even know if shocking, neither one of those really would be a word that I would describe it. As a pastor, you would think my answer would be differently, but I'm not shocked by much anymore. I mean, I've been to Africa multiple times and I've been different places internationally. And so I feel like I have a decent idea of what's going on in the world. And, there are all kinds of competing voices all around the world. And they're in our communities with or without this club. These voices are in our community. People have different expectations of what they want to see in a community. And so I'm really not even disappointed necessarily that they're here. To me, I like to be a kind of glass half full guy. And I, as a minister of the gospel and just as a Christian in general, I see a lot of opportunities for our existing clubs, which I'd like to, maybe share, if I don't know if that was the right time, but I see an opportunity for them to grow and actually prosper, now that this has presented itself.
And what is your advice? You've seen the comments from people. What is your advice to parents out there who truly in their heart, they're just super concerned about this?
Yeah, I know it's a troubling time, and in general, right, our world is very light and dark, whatever kind of metaphor you want to use. As a believer, there are all kinds of things that are bombarding us. And actually, the original intent of my post yesterday, I think, got lost in what it became. The original intent of my post was to make people aware of what's going on in our community. This is a community, like I said, that we love. My wife, Jennifer, and I, we love this community. And there's so many things. There's a Miss Horton, I believe is her name. I don't know her, that is the leader of the Good News Club at this elementary school. A friend of mine, Kelly Cummings, is very involved, and other staff at the middle school is very involved with a group called Rooted that is doing marvelous things. As a pastor and as a member of the community, I've spoke at that group. My children, my daughter last year was part of the leadership team for FCA that's led by Josh Chastain at the junior high school. So we're firm believers, and there's a lot of good in the community. And I don't think that was translated in my post very well. A lot of people like to go straight to burn the system down, right? And let's stop everything. But I have full respect for the leaders in our community. Isaac Sievers, our superintendent, I think he's walked into a very difficult job this year, not only with mask mandates earlier in the year, but now with this, and his job's just going to get tougher. And so, I'm here hopefully to be a part of the answer to the problem, not to add it on. So I would just share with concerned parents to get involved. Like, don't just check out, right? The absence of good men. I think the old saying is evil prevails when good men do nothing. And so I think that it's better for us to just not be so against things, but let's be stronger of what we're for. And in my post, that's what I wanted to make people aware, so they can know how to pray, they can know how to make decisions for their kids. But I think that it's very important that people are aware of what's out there. And that was my original intent. So I certainly stand by that part of it, although a little bit of that got lost in the mix.
Okay. And going back to Superintendent Severs, he put out a very long statement that was pretty informative. Do you think that that kind of explained it pretty well of why this is happening at the school?
Absolutely. And I can even go one step further. I'll comment to that here, but as part of my answer, I'll even take it one step further. I was pretty vocal last year when Lebanon became a sanctuary city for the unborn. And this group, the satanic group that started this, I don't know what their exact name is. It's slipping my mind right now. But not only do they target schools where there are good news clubs, but they are a very big proponent of abortion rights. And so they have also been targeting cities that have made a declaration and decided that they wanted to be a sanctuary city for the unborn. So there are more layers to this than I think a lot of people understand. I think that when light shines, the darkness, the Bible says when light is shined, the darkness can't comprehend it, doesn't know what to do with it. And so putting a light on this, what Mr. Severs said was perfectly appropriate. From my understanding, they had three different options. Number one, they could have just shut down all the groups across the board through them. And I think everybody would agree that that would be a horrible idea because of these other groups, these good groups that I've mentioned, and all of the groups. They have, being a public school, they have a right to do this. Option two would have been for them to deny the application for the group, which would have resulted in them being sued, and they would have lost. And then, all the groups might have been in jeopardy in the first place, and that wouldn't have been good. So option three, which is the one they did, actually, as a pastor, I know people, I'm going to catch a lot of flack for what I'm about to say, but I agree with their decision. I'm so happy that they let this happen because, ultimately we have choices to make. And just like the example in the Bible, when the Old Testament prophet called down fire from heaven, like my goal is to say, let them all come out of the woodwork, right? Let's have all of the groups so that everybody's voice can be heard. And then we'll see, hopefully, the light that Christians can have and that believers can shed in the darkness and have a voice. And so I hope that that's happening. And I think by shedding light on this, obviously my post has been shared, I think over 500 times now, and clearly it's getting a lot of traction. It's getting some negative attention, and people, might think that it was for negative reasons. But in hindsight, I think the exact reason why I made the post is exactly what's come to the forefront. It's actually had the effect that I wanted it to have, so that the light could be shined in this and people can make informed decisions.
And have you seen that? I've seen at least one Facebook group of, I guess, a local mom or someone local who is planning to, on the first set day of the first meeting, they plan to have like a prayer outside of the school. Have you seen that?
I have seen that. And I think that could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing, right? So, I mean, we've seen how anarchy can happen all around our country over the last couple of years. So I don't think that violence is ever the answer. I don't think from this person's post that that's her intent. So as long as they want to gather in the parking lot and pray, I think that can be a good thing. But again, just like in the New Testament, I'm a pastor, so you have to maybe excuse my examples, but like Jesus was going to the cross, and Peter pulled out his sword and cut a guy's ear off, right? And so many times we still today think that we need to be those Peter type of Christians that, are out to prove a point. But if Peter would have had his way, Jesus would have never gone to the cross. And in Peter's good intention, he actually could have had a devastating consequence that could have stopped Jesus from having his perfect work. And so I think that, it's our job to be peaceful, to let our voice be made known, of course, but we don't don't do anything violently as believers. So our job is just to make sure that people are presented with the good news. My job is not to convince anybody as a pastor. My job is just to declare the gospel. They can do with it whatever they want to. So I guess that's maybe a long answer, but there you go.
No, that's great. Okay. Yeah, I saw what you saw too, that, this isn't the first place for this to happen. As recently as not even 2 weeks ago, the first meeting happened in a place in Illinois. I called the school district there, and they told me that only 2 students showed up. Some protesters did show up, but it was peaceful. So it doesn't seem like, although similar to here, a lot of people were concerned. I guess in the end, it wasn't really a big deal.
Right. Well, I'm a firm believer that in the end, the right thing will happen if people stand up for righteousness, right? When we had this discussion last year about the sanctuary city for the unborn, there was a whole group of citizens who said, we're going to protest the businesses in the city, and this is going to be a horrible thing. Well, from my understanding, at least, tax revenue is up in the city. A lot of businesses did great. And so I think that when people take a time to reflect and really just make good old-fashioned decisions of what's best for me and my family, then we can have the kind of community that we want in Lebanon, right? And so whatever the majority is, whether it's city, state, federal, all these governments and this nation has been set up to be governed of the people, by the people, and for the people. And so I think the people of Lebanon will make a good decision. And I can't express enough how much, even though our family chose to send our kids to private school way before this ever came out yesterday, this year we chose to send our kids to private school, a Christian school. And although that was good for our family, we still have the backs of the teachers and the staff of our community. I know that they're innocent kind of bystanders in this, and they're being hit with a lot of things that are unfair to them. I understood all these things when I made my post, and so hopefully this can shed some light on some things, and we can move forward and be stronger as a community. I grew up here, like I said, I played sports here, and one thing we say around here is we are warriors strong, and I believe Lebanon Warriors, that's our mascot. So so I think the Lebanon Warrior attitude will come through, and folks will bind together and come together.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much, Pastor Wade. I don't have any other questions. Is there anything else that you think that you want to add or mention?
No, I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for reaching out today. Your phone call, although a little bit unexpected, was also expected too.
Yes, thank you so much for your help. Yeah, when I put this together, it's going to be a lot of different elements, like I was telling you, talking to you as well as another pastor from a local church in Lebanon, awesome. And then using the statement that the superintendent put out, and then just a little bit about this group, and also what I was telling you about what happened in Illinois as well. So I appreciate you. If there's anything else that you need, you have my email as well as my phone number.
All right, Marilla, thank you so much. I appreciate what you're doing and bringing light to this topic, okay?
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.